Hello everyone, my name is Alicia Jackson, licensed professional counselor, and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to talk about what is the difference between internal family systems, IFS, and traditional therapy or talk therapy. If you are new to this channel, welcome, and if you don't know much about internal family systems, I do have a couple videos that do go into detail about the model. And also feel free to like the video if you get something from the content, comment below if you have any questions, and of course subscribe to the channel if you get anything from the content, if you feel like this is a great space for you. We would love to have you. So let's get into it. If you don't know, I am an IFS therapist, and I do have a video that talks about why I chose to become an IFS therapist. But I want to go into detail about what's the difference. What's the difference between traditional talk therapy and internal family systems therapy? First, internal family systems looks at behavior completely different than traditional therapy. Most therapy models, you look at behaviors, especially negative behaviors, as something that is bad. Right? Even though therapy is supposed to be a safe space where you can share all of you, traditional therapy, sometimes parts that are bad feel like they aren't present in the therapeutic environment. A lot of times it's very, very common for individuals who have challenges with substance use to not really be honest about their usage with their therapist, because they know their therapist is trying to stop it, or wants them to stop it. And so they won't be honest about their substance use. Sometimes when a client has SI or thoughts of ending their life, they won't be honest about it because they feel like, oh, if I tell my therapist, this immediately means I'm going to go to the hospital, and I don't want to go to the hospital. So they don't talk about, and they shut down that part of them that is considering that, and they won't share. And that part never gets really truly heard in traditional therapy or talk therapy, because that is the focus. In internal family systems, we know that all parts are welcome. There are no bad parts. I repeat, no bad parts. And so those parts that we talked about earlier, those parts that are using substances or thinking about ending their lives, self-harm, any parts that may be hurting someone physically, emotionally, all of those parts are welcome, because we know as IFS therapists, we know that all of these parts are trying to protect our client. We know that. And so we want to hear from them. We want to know what exactly they fear will happen if they don't do this behavior, if they don't listen to this part, what they fear will happen, or what they fear will happen if they don't do their job. And so it truly creates a safe space for all of the parts of the client to be heard. And of course, the goal is to help that part to not be able to have to work so hard to do its job, especially those that are keeping the client from living the quality of life that they would like to lead. Another way that IFS is different from talk therapy is one key word: internal, right? So talk therapy is more of an external process. Clients come in talking about parts. They're saying, and they're often blended with the part, and so it's hard for them to really get a clear view of what they're feeling. And they feel like all of them feels this way. I'll never be enough. I'll never be good enough. I'll always be a failure. That's just how I feel. Instead of saying, a part of me feels like I'm a failure. Oftentimes when my clients come to me and they say that they have a feeling about themselves, and it feels like an extreme thought that they have, I'll say, oh, okay. I really appreciate you for sharing that. I'm curious if there are any other parts of you that feel any other way. I just want to do a check-in to see, just to get a range so that the client can get an understanding that there are different parts of them, that feel different ways about themselves, that there are different parts of them they may feel differently, that yes, there may be a part of them that feels like they're a failure, and that they're always going to be a failure, and there's a part of them that says, hey, sometimes I do get it right. Sometimes I do get it right, and I do feel good about myself when that happens. So that is the power of using part language in therapy. It helps clients, even if we're just utilizing talk therapy, to help them kind of get more of a clear mind of what's really happening inside of them. In talk therapy, it can give you a limited view and a limited level, almost like a surface level of knowing of the client. So the client will have a limited level of knowing of themselves, and the therapist will also have a limited knowing of the client, as a lot of times it can be very analytical, and the therapist, from their many years of experience, will come with what they feel is happening in the client, and there may be some truth about it. Most time there is some truth. And at the same time, internal family systems, where you're actually able to directly connect with the part of them that feels like a failure, then you understand the full picture as to why this is happening and why this keeps being activated in the client whenever they are maybe assigned a task and they know they can do it, but there's a part of them that feels like they're a failure, and it stops them from doing it or doing it to their best ability. Because IFS is an internal process, it also helps the client become more in tune with the different parts of them that become activated or triggered in any moment in time. Sometimes clients don't even realize that they're being activated or triggered until they become more in tune with their system, their different parts, and they begin to actually feel the different parts being activated and know which part's being activated, and being able to reassure that part and be able to have it dial back its energy when it needs to, when we need to be more in self energy, need to be more calm, more confident, and more centered. Oftentimes in talk therapy, what can happen, because it is a more external process, that it can become more of a venting session. Now, science tells us that venting isn't very helpful, and that venting that's happening is usually a part in session that is preventing the client from being present with their feelings and attaching their emotion to what they're actually saying. So they kind of talk about what they're experiencing from a place that creates space from their emotions to protect them from feeling their emotions when they talk about it. And it protects the client from really feeling the weight and the heaviness of their reality. So that venting part is welcome in session. And at the same time, internal family systems, what we do with this venting part is say, hey, I just want you to notice if you feel far away from what you're talking about or if you feel close to it. And then what do you fear will happen if we start to draw a little bit closer to what you're talking about? What do you fear will happen if we go from venting to what we're talking about to being more present to how what you're talking about is showing up in your body, how experiencing what you're talking about, what that feels like for you? See the difference? Also, the difference between internal family systems and traditional talk therapy, or CBT or DBT, any of those therapies that I've talked about before in previous videos, is that traditionally you're learning skills, right? We're teaching you coping skills. We're teaching you skills on how to do things the right way. Okay. And so what that indirectly tells the client is you don't know what's best for you. You don't have the tools necessary to live the life that you want to lead. And we have to learn these tools. It can make the client feel like, wow, I got a lot of work to do. Like, I don't have what I need in order to live the life that I want. And I have to learn these skills. I have to learn these skills in order to do this. How internal family systems is different, that everyone is born with a capacity to provide a brave, safe space for themselves and be able to heal their inner child that is hurting, or their other exiled parts that are carrying pain. And this healing power is called self-energy. Self-energy, which is calm, clarity, connectedness, compassion, centered. All of these C words describe self-energy. And what happens is life happens. Life happens and our parts come in to push out that self energy. It says, no, she can't handle it. I have to be in control. Or no, he can't handle it. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to soothe the pain this way. And so how this is different is telling the client like, oh no, you actually have the tools. You already have it. We just have to help you access it. And it feels different. It feels different as a client to know that, oh, I have it. It's just whatever happened to me made me believe that I didn't have these qualities and I can't trust myself. And so I need to be able to reintroduce these parts that have been working really hard to protect me to self so that they know we do have this healing power. We do have access to compassion. We do have access to connectedness. We do have access to confidence, to clarity, to calm. We have access. We don't have to be anxious all the time. We don't have to be hopeless. We have courage that's inside of us. We just have to reintroduce those parts to that energy. Another difference, and this one is one of my favorites, between internal family systems and traditional therapy is that internal family systems does not try to change or reframe thoughts. It doesn't do that. Can we be honest that our logical part really likes CBT? It makes sense to our logical part. Yes, we like this treatment modality because these emotions carry a lot of irrational thoughts that do not make sense. And that logical part is absolutely right. That logical part is absolutely right. These emotions, especially the ones that are from our younger parts, have really big feelings and they don't make sense often. And that really frustrates our logical part. And so it gravitates to CBT as saying, we need to reframe these thoughts. I get it. And at the same time, we're indirectly telling our younger parts is that you're thinking about it the wrong way. How you're thinking about it isn't right. Think about it this way. And they have a valid reason. They have a real reason for thinking about it the way they do because of the lens that they are experiencing it. Pains and distressing events that we experience at a very young age, it stays there. It's housed there where our mind was developmentally. And so a child's mind doesn't have access to critical thinking. A child's mind doesn't have access to nuance and complexity. And so when we are kind of stuck in a place of good and bad and very rigid kind of thinking and very egocentric thinking, we know that that's a young part. We know that it's a pretty young part that is holding that energy and that has those thoughts that are pretty irrational. And they have a very real reason to feel and believe the things that they do, and they are welcome. They are welcome to express those because, remember, all of our parts need to be heard, seen, and witnessed. They need to be validated. And lastly, and we talked about this a little bit in the last video, internal family systems actually provides healing. It provides healing of those neural pathways that have been fixed to protect, to look for danger, to be hypervigilant, to assess for risk, to maintain control, to be perfect all the time. It provides healing for those parts that have been working so hard and helps them to rest. It helps them to rest. Other traditional therapies, especially talk therapy, does not provide healing. It provides a safe space. It provides expression. It provides validation. And at the same time, it does not provide healing. It provides reduction. It provides comfort. Sometimes it provides a relationship that maybe lasts too long, that goes on and on and on and on because that client has like very early attachment trauma. And so they're using the therapeutic relationship as a safe space because they've never had it and they want to have a secured attachment. They're scared to lose it. As you know, and I stated this earlier, I am an IFS therapist. So I have a part of me that wants to spread the news of internal family systems for everyone because I've experienced it. I've experienced how helpful it can be and how life-changing it can be. And I want other people to experience this. And at the same time, I know that there are other treatment modalities that are helpful, that are useful. So I want to make sure that you know that I am not saying that internal family system is the only therapy that works. That is not what I'm saying. I am saying that it is something that I have found to be very, very beneficial for myself and my clients. And so I wanted to share this information with you all to do whatever you like with it. Of course, if you have any questions, please comment below. If you got anything out of the video, like the video, and of course, subscribe to the channel. And as always, be cool, be calm, be centered. Peace.